With the Echoes update came a lot of new things, but most importantly came a lot of changes to the game's files. Now, it has been a small amount of time since the update was released and patches have been implemented to fix some of the major game-breaking bugs. However, in today's video, I wanted to see just how far I could push the game's engine and to discover just what could be possible. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was not disappointed with what I found, so let's get on into today's video. Now, just whilst I do have your attention very quickly, can I just ask if by the end of today's video, if I have earned your subscription, then please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And also, don't forget to leave a like on this very video. That way, it not only helps me out as a channel to grow, but it also helps this information get out there to the wider Norman Sky and YouTube audience who can take full advantage of the information presented. Alright guys, so we're going to start off very lightly. I wanted to see just where the level was to how far I could push things and then continue to push them further. So I decided to mod this ship so it just shows its cockpit only. Now, by all accounts, this is a fully functioning ship. You can fly about, you can land it. It is crazy. So that's where we're going to go first of all. Now, if I can get this ship out and fly it through the anomaly doors out into space without crashing, then we are on to a good start. And yes, there we go. So all the footage that you're seeing in today's video, by the way, has all been taken during my testing phase. So when I'm recording this, I don't know whether or not at this particular time if something is actually going to work without crashing. But obviously with my narration, I know in advance if something's going to work or not, so I won't show you anything that doesn't. But I was just really surprised that I managed to get this cockpit with no other body actually working in the game, which is utterly incredible. So then I had a few extra ideas. Idea number 2. Now, with the new pirate dreadnoughts making its way into the game and how I have been able to modify one of those to be my own personal freighter, I wanted to see if I could push the boundaries of that and not only have one as my own personal freighter, but also have them as 4 of my squadron slots. Now, as you can see, the first few results turned out a little bit inconclusive. However, once I managed to somehow get my ship out of that glitchy mess, I turned around and seen what I had created. That is 4, I kid you not, that is 4 pirate dreadnoughts all crushed into one. So I knew at this point I had an opportunity on my hands. Now, it seems to be a distance issue because of the way they all get clumped together whenever they come to your aid, because obviously you are being attacked. So with the distance issue, I can't modify the distance of which they spawn. Unfortunately, that is a set and locked parameter. But I can reduce the number of how many come to my aid at once, thus giving a little bit more wiggle room for any of them that do want to spawn in and help. So I started off with 4 and we're going to keep on reducing that number until 1 becomes mostly okay. And it seems like 1 was the winning ticket. So even when I only had 3 spawning or 2 spawning, they would still collide. And funnily enough, with 2 spawning in at once, they would actually collide into each other and actually destroy each other at the same time. But with 1, I still have the problem of actually getting trapped with inside of it whenever I call it. But this can be quickly rectified by essentially flying through the nearest gap I can find and pray to God that I don't get stuck even further. But as you can see right now, I have my own personal pirate dreadnought as part of my squadron. So I was really happy with this result. And I could also call in the other pirate freighter as well. So this was completely OP and I had double the guns that would help me in battle. However, to trigger the event for them to help me, as we all know by now, we have to get the enemy NPCs that are attacking me to also have a stray bullet land on the freighters, and then they'll pop into action and defend my honor, which is fantastic because now I have double the firepower, which means double the destruction. So for the next idea. Now, I had a lot of comments in my recent videos saying that they really enjoyed the look of my ball ship, which I use virtually in all my videos. So instead of having only 1 pirate freighter, why not change the model of the pirate freighter to this ball ship instead and then I can have 4 ball ships all at once as part of my squadron, just whilst I was working out squadrons. And as you can see, I managed to mod that in fairly easily, and now I have 4 squadron members that are all god tier ball ships, and they are freaking insane. They kill anything with one shot. It is completely overpowered. Now, in my circumstance, whenever I've had normal squadron members before, I find that they're pretty much useless. They just get in the way constantly, and they don't really help much other than that. But because of the size of the ball ship themselves, and the fact that they can actually one-shot anything, it actually makes them now a viable option, in my opinion, to actually help you rather than not help you when you're in battle. Very, very nice. And lastly, for today's experiment, I wanted to really go out there with something completely random. Now, I decided to go ahead and make my capital freighter into a ball ship as well. Now, during my testing, I thought that nothing actually spawned in. So I was like, okay, what's actually going on here? However, when I flew a little bit closer to the mark where it says your capital ship, I noticed that it was actually a ball ship, which was incredible. However, the game crashed. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I've been up to recently, really trying to push the game's boundaries by just doing absolutely outrageous things. And I think we actually came out with some really decent results. It's possible to have ball ships as your own personal squadron. It's possible to get ships like this behind me as cockpits. Well, we already knew that with the ball ship that I fly around, because that is just a cockpit model. However, I didn't know just how far I could push that concept, and it turns out quite a few options are available. Now, is it practical to have a pirate dreadnought ship as your own personal squadron? Absolutely not, under any pretense. You can't have 4 of them, they all merge together, you get stuck inside, it is a nightmare. Plus that, then they don't actually do anything because they can almost not even see the enemy because of that clumped together. You can reduce it down to 1, but is it practical yet again? Yes and no. It's great to have the firepower, but you will have to try and get out from the inside of it every time it comes to your aid, and if you get randomly attacked, it don't matter what you're doing, it will just spawn on the inside of you and you will get trapped. So take that with a pinch of salt, but it is fun to see as an experiment. But practically, I wouldn't say it was useful really at all, but really cool to see nonetheless. And finally, having a ball ship as your own personal freighter. Cool concept because it minimizes everything down, but again, not practical because it crashes out your system. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about today's video in the comment section as always. And my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.